Welcome to Let's Talk Theater. I'm your host, Julie Whitney Scott, and we're talking today with Gregory Abbott, who wrote Anne Frank Society. That's going to be presented this year at the Columbus Black Theater Festival. We celebrate 14 years this year at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. We celebrate our 14th year, and it's still standing strong. Voices of Triumph is our theme this year. Let's talk to Gregory Abbott. Gregory Abbott, we are featuring his play this year. It's called Anne Frank Society. Welcome, Gregory.
Hey, it's nice to be here.
Why don't you start off with introducing yourself and your playwriting experience to the audience?
Yeah. Well, I've been writing plays since about 2009. I've been the coordinator for the Minnesota Shorts Play Festival. So we do about 7 short plays a year. We get over 500 submissions every year. So I help coordinate that so the theater can choose their 6 and run with them. I've been doing that for about 15 years. I've also written a lot of short plays, some full-length plays, and I've even dipped my toe into a 1-minute play, which is very different. Actually, one of my 1-minute plays is going to be in the Houston. It's called the GI 60 Play Festival down in Houston, July 1st, right before your show goes on. So I've had a lot of plays performed all the way from Alaska to over to Boston, Atlanta, some even in England.
Play that we're going to feature this year, Anne Frank Society. One of the reasons it was chosen is because it is very relevant to what's been going on these last couple of years out here in America. Why don't you tell us what made you write Anne Frank Society and tell the audience a little bit about the story?
Yeah, I guess the whole idea started when this metro surge for ICE came into Minneapolis, and they just threw thousands of officers into the city, and basically they just started pulling anybody who wasn't white off the street and arresting them, and protests started, and we were talking about things that we could do. To me, yes, it's good to protest. Yes, it's good to have different ideas on how you can help people. I work at a food shelf, so we boxed up a bunch of food orders and delivered them out to places where people felt unsafe coming out of their house to go to a food shelf to pick them up because ICE might be hanging around there. So one of the things that was suggested is we should do something like the Anne Frank thing and hide them because on the Signal app, there was always someone who said, okay, there's a bunch of ICE vehicles leaving. They're heading toward this neighborhood. So beware. So we'd have time to get them somewhere else and hide them until the ICE agents went back. So that was kind of the idea that prompted me to start writing the play. And my thought was, if Anne Frank and her family were immigrants today, would you hide them from ICE? Would you hide them even if you could be charged and jailed for impeding an ICE investigation or a police investigation? There were so many parallels once I started down that road too, that I just felt sometimes art can bring a point home better than a protest or better than someone lecturing you, and definitely better than posting a social media comment. So I think by doing it through art, the messages can get across.
I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. The type of writer that I am also is one that deals with issues that open up the audience's minds to think differently or to have empathy for someone else's situation, which the Anne Frank Society does so well. And one of the things that you just said that struck me was when you were talking about how the messages would go out in Minnesota that ISIS here, ISIS there, and how people would come together to move people from one place to another, which strikingly takes you back to the Underground Railroad and the way that things had to move back then. And isn't it ironic that here we are in 2026 and we are now have to have these kind of tactics?
It is amazing. Out of all the progress that we thought we had, it really takes one administration to just set you back decades.
If there was one main thing that you would want people to walk away from Anne Frank society, what would it be?
I based my main character a little bit on my son. He has social anxiety. He has problems talking to his neighbors or some of his coworkers at work. I would always ask him, well, who lives next to you? He didn't know. Who lives across your apartment from you? And the more I talked to younger people, the more I got the impression it's not uncommon. And maybe we don't even know who our neighbors are. When's the last time we have invited our neighbors over for supper or for a campfire or something? How well do we know our neighbors anymore? Do we make an effort anymore? Or are we so closed in and on our screens and on our phones that we don't really know them? So if something happens and the police show up at your neighbor's door, do we even know them? So I think that plays a little bit into it too. So I hope people walk away thinking, what can I do to help people who are in need? And if I don't know who they are, maybe at the least I could know who my neighbors are. So if they did need help, maybe I could deliver food shelf items to them. Maybe I could, if they were scared of staying in their apartment, bring them over to my apartment and hide them out for a night or two. It goes, again, it just goes back to that question that kept running around in my head. If I had known of Anne Frank and her family and they needed a place to hide, and the consequences during Nazi Germany were much more serious than they are during the ICE surge, but still, it takes that little small act of bravery to say, yeah, I'll do something. I'll step up. And if everybody does those small acts of bravery, then yes, we can stand up to a federal government that's way out of line. So I hope that that's what they take from it.
That's a good message. Tell our audience before we wrap this up how they can see any of your work. Where can they find you on your social media sites, or how can they, if they wanted to use this play and produce it themselves, how could they get in touch with you about that?
Yeah. I do have a Facebook page. I am on LinkedIn. My main thing for playwriting is called the New Play Exchange, NPX. So there's many, many, many playwrights who are on that site, and you can just go search for my name and it'll list the plays that I have out there. And if they want to use them, they're welcome to use them. They just need to let me know where it's going to be and who's producing it. So it's a great site if anyone's looking for, we don't want to do Oklahoma again for the third time in 7 years. We want to try something new. I go to that site. It's the New Play Exchange.
I am also on the New Play Exchange. So,
all right.
Yeah, folks, check us out on there and like and follow Gregory Abbott. Gregory, once again, I am so excited to have Anne Frank Society at the Columbus Black Theater Festival this year. And we hope that if you can come, we'll have a talk back after the show.
I'll be there opening night.
All right.
I want to thank you for having me on and talking about art, because I really do think that art is one thing that can really help change people's minds, that can make those points that are hard to discuss a little easier to discuss.
Thank you so much, too.